Hi, I'm Gavin,
And I'm Dave.
and you're on the fringe.
Come along with us for a ride on a podcast where we talk about an area or a thing going on in the world that needs more attention, just like you do. Let's go.
On the fringe. Here we go. It is a very special episode.
I am gonna record it. So I'm just getting my phone all set up right now. I've got it on Do Not Disturb in case my dad gives me a call and he's hanging out with his buddies right now. And as he likes to do sometimes in the morning, give me a call and give me a good old fashioned Idaho or wherever he is. Welcome to On the Fringe, everybody. This is Dave. I'm here with Gavin. You were not expecting that transition right there, but there we
No,
go.
there we go. There we go. So, it is springtime, and spring is very much in the air. Uh, what was in the air just a few days ago in Korea?
Well, there was a couple of bombs that were in the air, and unfortunately, gravity pulled them down to the
Oh,
earth. And there were two Korean KF-16 jets that
mhm.
mistakenly dropped eight bombs in Pocheon in the very northern part of South Korea. It's near the DMZ in Gyeonggi province. And last I saw, there were 29 people that were injured from this. There were initial reports that there were about, I think, 15 people, but there were 29 people that were injured. Primarily, these people were older. And surprisingly, if you look through some of these articles that are reporting on this, you'll see that there were people that were Thais, Burmese, and Nepalis that were injured. And you're probably thinking, okay, why are there people from Southeast Asia and South Asia that are up in the middle of nowhere in South Korea? What are they doing up there?
Good question.
It is a good question. It's a very good question. And Korea right now is undergoing a population crisis where the birth rate is very, very low. Japan's in a similar boat. But Korea has, I believe it's the lowest birth rate in the world, where it's about 0.75 kids for every Korean woman. So Korea is trying to fix this problem with bringing in foreigners. And a lot of the foreigners that are coming in are from Southeast Asia and Central Asia and South Asia as well.
Yes, I mean,
Jump on in there.
I guess it's just a little surprising. It makes sense that they're coming in, but I guess if you don't know, I mean, coming from Europe or spending time in Europe, it makes sense that they're going to rural areas. But I think it's a little surprising when you think about all of these foreigners, because uh, Pochon is a very rural area, isn't it? I mean, you're really in the middle of nowhere, close to the North Korean border. Um, what are these guys doing out there? I mean, I get why they're in the country, but why
Mm-hmm.
out in Pochon specifically?
I mean, it's kind of weird where Pocheon and South Korea is such a small country. You're never more than probably an hour and a half or 2 hours from a major metropolitan city.
Hmm.
But around Pocheon, they're doing a lot of agricultural work. So
Ah,
Korea has a lot of greenhouses. And where I lived in Gangwon-do, they had a bunch of greenhouses as well. And they would have people primarily from Southeast Asia. And then they also had a lot of Russians that were there, which was surprising to a lot of people. And maybe you've talked about this before on another pod. Can't remember if I did or not. But a lot of these Russians were mid 20s to early 30s, single dudes hanging out in a town with a couple of military bases. And they were doing odd
wow.
jobs primarily.
Yeah, the surprising things you will find in rural South Korea. And the way I understand it, they're encouraging immigration. They're trying to get more people over there, and I think increasingly they are trying to get tech workers from South Asia. I don't know much about that, but I know they're trying to get more and more tech workers into Korea. I think up until now, they've primarily targeted what you're talking about, kind of people doing manual labor, agricultural labor, that kind of thing. But they're now targeting more middle market jobs, I think.
Hmm. Definitely. And if you look on some of the Korean news websites too, I mean, they'll have advertisements and stuff about like, being more of a multicultural country. So
Mm.
there's definitely a push. I don't know if it's from the government that's, pushing this or some of these media companies or private industry that's pushing this, but there definitely is a push in South Korea for the country to try to go global in terms of attracting people and, higher level talent because Korea, in my opinion, it needs to solve this problem, and it should have solved this problem 10 to 15 years ago, and it's already in a really, really tough place if it actually wants to solve this. It's behind the eight ball, and it's not looking good.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you could say that about a lot of countries right now.
Yeah,
Um, Anyways, yes. So, in case you were wondering, maybe you heard about this, surprising the people who were like, "Did you hear about that weird thing that happened in Korea?" It is pretty odd. There's an investigation of it. There's still, I believe, not entirely sure what happened, but basically, one plane had a technical malfunction, and the other pilot didn't cross-check properly and dropped their payload. Um, so my suspicion is someone is probably going to get demoted over this. Definitely people are going to get shuffled around. It's pretty
hmm
embarrassing for a lot of people. And it's also bad timing because you're right in the middle of drills with the USAF and it just doesn't look good. It's not something that makes anyone look good.
no. And I mean, I'm just thinking here, it didn't really say anything about the size of the blast, but if this would have been in a more heavily populated area, this would have done a lot more damage. And since it was up in Pochun, the mayor's obviously really upset about what's going on, but this could have been much worse.
Yeah, and I think that's and good on them. I think that's the attitude the investigating authorities are sort of taking forward is everyone got really, really lucky. The fact that there were no fatalities is it should never have happened, but that's a really, really good thing that had everything to do with luck and nothing to do with planning.
Hmm.
On that note, spring is in the air, so's on the fringe. Please like, comment, subscribe, recommend it to a friend, or a friend of a friend, or a cousin of a friend's dog, or people you don't like. Please
That one.
recommend, please spread it around, spread the love around, and we're going to be here next week, this week, and the week after that on the fringe.